Hey everybody, Chris Samartage, Brotherhood of Light Show Current YouTube channel. And this week we're going to continue with our 60s band series. Last week was San Francisco bands, and this week it's going to go Southern California bands. Let's get on with the show. Okay, here we are, Southern California bands of the 60s. And these bands are commercially popular, and they're my favorites. There's a lot of other bands, but we're going to focus on these bands right here. The Byrds, The Doors, Love, Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention, Iron Butterfly, Spirit, Buffalo Springfield, and Steppenwolf. Okay, so let's get to the next slide. Okay, so we have the Byrds here and their 1966 album, Fifth Dimension. And they had an album before this, and they were more of a folk band at that point. They were doing Mr. Tambourine Man, Turn, 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 kind of Bob Dylan stuff. But this record, they do 8 Miles High. It's got this great bass riff in it, and it's got an incredible guitar and 12-string guitar, and Tom Petty really copied the sound of the Byrds, so they were kind of innovators for this kind of 60s rock sound. So let's go on to the next slide. Okay, our next band is Buffalo Springfield, and they're out of Southern California, Malibu area. And on the right, we got Stephen Stills, we've got Neil Young, Richie Furay, and Jim Messina. It was like a super group, and this was before they went on their solo careers or joined other bands. So the Buffalo Springfield album on the right here is got a great song. It's called For What It's Worth, and you probably heard it. It's Stephen Stills' song. And this Buffalo Springfield Again album is their third album, their last album, and it has Mr. Soul, Bluebird, and Broken Arrow, and they're just some great, trippy, cool, innovative stuff on here. Buffalo Springfield, Neil Young, of course, went on for a solo career. Stephen still does a solo career with Crosby, Stills, Nash, also Loggins and Messina, Jim Messina, and Richie Furay was in Poco. So I mean, they all broke off into other bands that were successful, but these two Buffalo Springfield albums are great. There's a third one also. So check them out, man. They're one of the great Southern California Malibu Beach rock bands. Next, we have the Doors down at the Whiskey A Go-Go in Los Angeles on the Sunset Strip. And we've got Robbie Krieger on the right, Jim Morrison, Ray Manzarek, and Densmore on drums. And so we've got John Densmore, that is. And we got the Doors' first album on the left there, and it has Crystal Ship, Light My Fire, and The End. Just classic stuff, super psychedelic, trippy, long song, a couple really long songs. And then on the right, we got Strange Days and the classic When the Music's Over. So the Doors are just probably the classic rock band of Los Angeles area. They're the world famous, and they have a bunch of other albums out. And then Jim Morrison passed away, and they dissolved. But one of the great bands from Southern California, and came out of the Whiskey A Go-Go, which is an old shot right there from them playing there with them. It was probably in '66. So check those records out. They're the top band out of LA back then, and they had the number one hit, and they were great. So got to give it to the Doors. So our next band here is Love. Now Love is based out of Southern California, and here's their first two records. And the first one on the right here had a Little Red Book. And the white album has My House is a Hotel. And then 7 and 7 is another great song that they did. So Love was another great band. They were out of Laurel Canyon in Los Angeles, and they're one of the innovators of psychedelic rock. Those two records are a really heavy influence on the lead singer of Led Zeppelin, Robert Plant. So they're definitely a great band. I saw them in San Francisco with Black Sabbath. So next we have one of the most innovative artists, Frank Zappa, right up here. And his first album was a double album called Freak Out. And then the second one was Absolutely Free, this black and white cover, The Mothers. It was Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention. And then we're Only in It for the Money, which is a parody of Sgt. Pepper's album covers. And they're progressive rock, progressive jazz, psychedelic, parody, almost comedy rock. He covered it all, but he was a great band leader, an amazing musician, great guitar player, and truly one of the innovative guys out of Southern California early on. And then he continued for the next 20 years to produce albums and create bands and arrange music. Just one of the great artists of the Southern California time. Coming out of there. And he actually was from Palmdale, California. So that's Frank Zappa. Check him out. And now we've got Iron Butterfly with In-The-Gadda-Da-Vida, which is a 20-minute epic. It's got kind of a hard rock, heavy metal lick to it. It has a drum solo, guitar solos. It's just one of these long jam songs. One of the first big, really long songs that came out that was played on the radio in its entirety. Now, their first record over here, called Heavy, this yellow album up in the corner, has a really cool song. It's called Iron Butterfly Theme, and it has kind of a spooky, kind of dark metal psychedelic vibe to it. And a lot of bands have kind of copied that sound and that feel that you get from it. But Iron Butterfly with In-The-Gadda-Da-Vida, still selling records to today, and they toured on it for years. And but some members have passed away. The band's defunct now, but they lasted. Total classic Southern California psychedelic rock band. Next up here, we got Spirit. Spirit, definitely Southern California band. We got Ed Cassidy on drums and Randy California on guitar and JoJo Gunn singing. And this first album, Spirit, this little one with the bald head guy in the corner, that's their first record. It's great, super psychedelic. It's got a song called Fresh Garbage and another song called Mechanical World that are both really cool, really trippy, kind of proggy stuff. And then their great album, The 12 Dreams of Dr. Sargonagus, which is this white album here. And it is just a total prog album. It's got a bunch of really cool songs that blend from one to the other. And it's really a American prog record, progressive rock, that is. If you don't know what prog means, the new term everybody's using. Anyway, Spirit out of Southern California. They were headlining the Fillmore. They're a really great band. And check out The 7 Dreams of Dr. Sargonagus. It's fantastic. And Randy California guitar playing is wonderful. So next up, we got the classic biker rock, Steppenwolf. Now, they're originally from Canada. John Kay, the guy in the picture in the middle with the sunglasses on, is the leader, singer, songwriter. And they did the song Born to Be Wild, which is a biker classic. And they also did Magic Carpet Ride and a song called The Pusher and Stay Off the Grass, Sam. They were just a classic band out of Southern California. They kind of the first band with a real hard rock attitude, as you can see the picture of them there, and they just fit that mold of the classic psychedelic biker rock, Born to Be Wild. There's their first album up here in the right-hand corner. So that's Steppenwolf. replanted in Southern California and lived their career. They had all these bands have played really good careers, lasted. Their mainstream rock out of the early or late 60s. So here we are back with Southern California bands of the 60s. And there's our logo, the Byrds, the Doors, Love, Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention, Iron Butterfly, Spirit, Buffalo, Springfield, and Steppenwolf. So I hope you guys enjoyed the show. That was our Southern California rock show of the late 60s. And I hope you guys could subscribe. That would help. And if you like it, view the show and tune in. What my next show is, I have no idea once again, but we'll have something cool from these innovative groups of the 60s and early 70s. So I'm going to sign off, and we'll see you guys next time. Thank you.